Okay, so welcome in Food Chemistry 2 or PCFT 106. So last week we have your orientation, which is your week 1. And this week we're starting with our lessons, no? For Food Chemistry 2. Now, what is the difference between Food Chemistry 1 and Food Chemistry 2? Well, in Food Chem 1, we talked about the macro components of food, which includes your carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. And we also discussed water, although water is not macronutrient, yet we still have to discuss it because it is an important component of food. Now, in food chemistry 2, we're going to discuss about the other micronutrients or micro components of food, which includes your enzymes, then uh, of course we have your pigments, both natural and artificial pigments. We also have topics on animal pigments, flavors and aromatics, and food additives, no, among other things. Now, in Food Chem 2, unlike nung Food Chem 1 natin, di ba, instead of having quizzes, um, we had your weekly worksheets. Now, we're not going to do that here in Food Chem 2. I believe that you already developed, no, the discipline and the habit of taking down notes. Please do that. Please do take down notes because Food Chem 2 is more comprehensive and more complicated compared to your Food Chem 1. Okay? So, if nag-effort kayo ng Food Chem 1, double the effort dito sa Food Chem 2 kasi marami tayong i-discuss. So, again, if you want to have better grades, then you have to take down notes, focus on the lessons, study, kasi wala nang weekly modules or weekly worksheets na sasalo or hahatak ng grades nyo. Okay? Um, Sige. So, let's start with the lesson for this week. So, this week we're going to discuss about enzymes in foods. Okay? So, for this particular video lesson, we're going to talk about the nomenclature, no, of enzymes, the different classes of enzymes, and their properties and functions. Now, this is part 1 of the topic on food enzymes. Next week, we're going to discuss part 2 kasi masyadong mahaba to ang topic about enzymes. Now, also, please take note that medyo marami kayong experiments for Food Chem 2, no? Kung marami nung Food Chem 1, mas marami sa Food Chem 2. And medyo may ibang experiments na medyo a little bit complicated na or matrabaho. So what we're going to do is we're going to maximize your time. So every Saturday, we're supposed to have 8 hours, no, of classes during Saturdays. So, dahil online tayo, hindi natin maximize yung 8 hours na yon. So, what we will do is that your video lessons, ang length siguro is around 1 hour to 2 hours yung video lessons na gagawin natin. And then, I'm going to discuss very briefly lang yung mga laboratory experiments ninyo. Every Saturday, siguro in the afternoon. So, you're going to watch 2 videos every Saturday. One for the lecture and one for the laboratory. Kasi, pagdating ng March 26 or 27, nandyan ako to conduct your laboratory experiments. Dapat pagdating ng March, memorize nyo na at alam nyo na yung mga different steps, no, na gagawin sa experiment. Okay? So, meron din kayong quizzes sa laboratory. Okay? Um, i-advance ko na kasi medyo matrabaho yung yung experiments niyo, and kailangan you have a full grasp of the experiment before starting uh, or performing the experiment, para wala na masyadong tanong-tanong. Kasi if magtatanong pa kayo sa akin while conducting the experiment, mako-confuse lang kayo lalo at madidelay yung trabaho natin. Uh, if last year we spent 2 days conducting the experiments, for Food Chem 2, we're going to spend 3 days working on your experiments. Okay? So let's continue with our lesson. I hope you have your lecture notebook and pen while listening to this video lesson. Okay? Now, I want you to take down notes as we proceed with the video lesson. Remember that you may pause the video anytime to take down notes. If you don't want to take down notes, you can also screenshot or print screen the screens, no? So you have I mean, you can have a copy, no, of the lecture. Okay? Now, in this video lesson, we're going to have a few review questions, no? You are hindi encouraged lang, you are required to answer these review questions because these review questions will serve as your attendance. So what are you going to do? No? There are 7 review questions. While listening to the video lesson, try to answer these review questions and then choose your answer. And then after that, please comment your answers. Uh, wag na lang pala i-comment sa FB post, no? Kasi pag i-comment nyo sa FB post, yung iba, baka hindi na manood, kukopya na lang ng answer nyo. So, yung gagawin natin, I will create a classwork sa Google Classroom natin, and then doon nyo isa-send sa akin yung answer niyo. Okay, you can either answer, you can write your answer in a piece of paper and take a photo and post it or upload it doon sa Google Classroom natin. Okay, now let's proceed with our lesson for this week. So what are enzymes? Enzymes are linear chain amino acids. So basically, they are proteins which give rise to a three-dimensional structure. Okay, so level 3 tayo, yung kanyang structure, no? Or tertiary structure siya. Or it can also be a secondary or tertiary or quaternary structure. Okay? Enzymes are proteins with catalytic activity. When we say catalytic activity, it means it will help allow or help push the reaction to occur, no? And this is due to their power of specific activation and conversion of substrates to products. So, anong nangyayari if there is an enzyme? So let's say we have, no, this is the chemical equation pala. Okay, so we have a substrate. What do we mean by substrate? It is the material or let's say ingredient that is being acted upon by enzyme. Another term is it is attacked by enzyme, no, to create new reaction products. Okay, so this is the illustration. Okay? So we start with your enzyme here, which is the green. Green yung itsura ng enzyme natin. And then we have a substrate. The substrate, again, is a food material, an ingredient, or whatever, that may attach to the enzyme at the active site, okay, to create an enzyme substrate complex. Ito yung itsura niya. So, we have your enzyme-substrate complex. So, nakikita ninyo, si substrate, umiba yung itsura niya. No? It started to change its color. Okay, now, it is because your enzyme again has allowed some chemical changes not to your substrate. And then, eventually, after the specific reaction period, uh, the changed substrate into the product detaches from your enzyme. So, ito na yung product, no, coming from the enzymatic reaction, okay? And then, when the product detaches itself from your enzyme can be used again, no? It can attract again or can fuse again with another substrate to create an enzyme substrate complex, and then eventually releases enzymatic reaction products. Okay, so that is the mechanism on how enzymes reacts to your substrate. So again, what is a substrate? It is a molecule acted upon by an enzyme. Kung ano pa is ito yung pagkain ng enzyme. Okay? So again, substrate is a molecule that is acted upon an enzyme. If there is no substrate, then there is no enzymatic reaction. Now, catalyst. A catalyst is a substance that speeds up a chemical reaction without being a reactant, or meaning it is not changed, it is not decomposed during the reaction period. Okay? So, sabi natin, enzymes is a catalyst. So, yun yung ginagawa ng enzyme. Then, the catalysts for biochemical reactions that happen in living organisms are called enzymes. Again, enzymes are the catalysts for biochemical reactions, no, to occur in living organisms. Now, enzymes, again, is a sequence of amino acids, no? Specifies the structure, the sequence of amino acids of an enzyme specifies its structure, which also identifies what type of catalytic activity it does. Okay, so different types of enzymes has different catalytic activity. Okay, so let's take a look again at your enzyme. So this is your enzyme. This is your active site. Kung titingnan mo, yung shape ng active site is similar, no, to the shape of the substrate. Pero mirror, anong tawag doon? Nakalimutan ko tawag. Pero parang opposite ends sila, no? So, another term for the enzyme substrate reaction is your lock and key. Okay, so tawag is lock, and key. O, intindihin nyo na lang, medyo pangit yung sulat ko. Okay? So, the lock here is your enzyme and the key is your substrate. Okay? Now, compared to its substrate, no, if ikukumpara natin sa enzyme at sa substrate, usually the enzyme is much bigger molecule compared to your substrate. Okay? So, an enzyme can range from having only 62 amino acids residues in its chain up to an average of 2,500 residues. Okay? So, ganun kalaki yung ating enzyme molecule. Now, only a small section of the enzyme structure is involved in catalysis. So, maliit lang na part ng enzyme yung involved sa catalysis. And that is the part where your active site is found. So, this portion dito sa baba is not involved in the catalysis or catalytic reaction. Heto lang, yung active site lang natin. So the catalytic site and binding site together constitutes the enzyme's active site. Now, let's talk about the general nature of your enzymes. Okay? So, enzyme possesses three important traits. Please do memorize these important enzyme traits. Number one, they are protein. Ito yung pinaka-importante nating tatandaan. They are proteins. Okay? And then another trait it has is that they are catalysts, meaning they speeds up biochemical reactions in living organisms. Okay? And then number three, they exhibit selectively towards substrates, meaning they are substrate specific. Okay? What do we mean by that, ma'am? So when we say substrate specific, ang isang enzyme will only act sa specific substrate. O for example, we have your pepsin. So pepsin is an enzyme that catalyzes the decomposition of your protein or your peptide bonds. Okay? So, pepsin will only act if there is presence of protein or peptide bonds. So, if nilagay mo ang pepsin sa isang margarine or fatty acid rich na food, walang mangyayari kasi hindi yon yung kanyang specific substrate. Okay? Yun yung tatandaan natin. That is why enzymes are very important in food processing or food science because of this specificity in substrates. Okay? Which we will discuss next week, no? In the continuation of this lesson. Okay? Now, there are two general classes of food enzymes. Okay? So, we have your exogenous enzymes. So, when we say exogenous, they are not found naturally in your food material. Rather, they are added to foods to cause a desirable change. Okay? So, exogenous enzymes can be obtained from a variety of sources, and choices among exogenous enzymes are based on cost and functionality. So, maraming sources yung exogenous enzyme. Okay? For example, pepsin. Maraming sources ang pepsin. Okay? Next, they are the appropriate functionality of your exogenous enzymes relates to catalytic activity, selectivity, and stability under the conditions that prevail during the specific application. Okay, ma'am, parang labo-labo na sa isipan namin. So, let's cite an example. Okay? Example is your rennet, no? Another term for rennet is renin, or it is also called as your chymosin. So, ano ba sila? So, rennet, renin, or another term for it is chymosin, is an enzyme which is found in the lining of a cow's stomach. Yung sinasabi nila na fourth chamber ng stomach ng cows, no? So, they are found there naturally. And it is used in making cheese, no? So, they add renin or rennet to milk to help curdle the protein, no? In the milk, which is your casein, to form your cheese. Okay? So, ito yung itsura ng renin natin or rennet. Again, it is used to coagulate milk to form cheese. So, rennet is added. No? It is not found naturally sa milk. Rather, it is added. No? It is an outsider They are just added, no, to uh, cause a desirable change. So in this instance, from milk, it is changed into cheese, which is desirable. Okay. Now, another general class of food enzyme is your endogenous enzymes. So, endogenous enzymes are those that exists or found in foods which may or may not be responsible for reactions that affect food quality. So, for example of this um, is your bromelain. No, bromelain is an enzyme that is found naturally in your pineapple, as well as your papain, which is naturally found in papaya. Okay. Now they are present in the food matrix at a range of levels. Okay. In some foods, endogenous enzymes may be responsible for reactions that either improve food quality or detract from it, meaning it may cause spoilage of that particular food. Okay? So, example of an endogenous enzyme are those enzymes found in fruits, no, such as apples and potato. Now, if I know that you have learned this since elementary, that when you expose certain cut fruits, no, into, you expose it to air, they turn brown, no. The term for that is enzymatic browning. So, a classic example of fruits or vegetables turning brown upon exposure to air is your apples and potato, as well as your banana. Okay? Now, that is uh, caused by the enzyme called polyphenol oxidase. Okay? So, ang effect ng polyphenol oxidase compared to rennet doon sa previous example natin is undesirable, no? Because we do not want discolorations in our food. Okay? So those are the two general classes of food enzymes. Again, we have exogenous enzymes and endogenous enzymes. Okay? Now, let's talk about the broad classifications of enzymes. So, again, meron tayong endo-enzymes. Kanina, endogenous tsaka exogenous. Ito naman, endoenzymes versus exoenzymes. Okay? So, endogenous enzymes are those enzymes that are or act intracellular. Meaning, yung function nila is within the cells where they are synthesized. Okay? Again, their action, no, is within uh, the cell or sa loob ng cells. Okay? So, nandun yung enzyme, nandun yung substrate. Okay? So, usually, these are intracellular enzyme action um, is involved in metabolism as well as cellular processes. Now, how about exoenzymes? Exoenzymes are um, their action, the action of the enzymes occurs outside the cell. Okay, so if the enzyme is inside the cells, then it needs to come out, no, so that it can meet its substrate, and then it can do its catalytic activity, no. So yung tawag dyan is extracellular action, or they act outside of the cell. Example of this is yung kanina sabi ko, si bromelain, at yung papain. Again, bromelain is an enzyme from pineapple, and papain is an enzyme from papaya. These two are what we call proteolytic enzymes. When you say proteolytic enzymes, or proteases, um, they can act on proteins, no, rendering them when they act on proteins, dinedecompose nila yung protein. Okay? So that's why yung ang tawag doon, yung sap ng papaya can be used to soften, hindi naman talaga soften, no? Pero it will help um, soften meat. Okay? Because they act on the proteins of the meat. Okay? As well as bromelain, di ba? Some tocino ingredients or tapa ingredients uses fresh pineapple juice, no, because of the enzymatic action of bromelain, no. Again, they attacked peptide bonds or proteins. Okay. Now, please ready your pen and notebook since we will have your first review question. Now, when I flash the question on the screen, you may pause it so that you can thoroughly read the question. Okay, and then write down your answer in your notebook or piece of paper. Again, you're going to submit a photo of the answers to the review questions, and that will serve as your attendance. So first question number 1, enzymes are composed of blank monomers or building blocks. Again, number 1, enzymes are composed of blank monomers or building blocks. So letter A, amino acids. Letter B, fatty acids. Letter C, nucleic acids. Letter D, lipids. And letter E, proteins. Now, question number 2. Defined a substrate is letter A and B. Letter B, the product that an enzyme acts on when it catalyzes a chemical reaction. Letter C, the reactant that an enzyme acts on when it catalyzes a chemical reaction. And letter D, none of the above. Okay? Okay, I hope you've written down your answers. So let's proceed to question number 3. Question number 3. These are enzymes that exists in foods and which may or may not be responsible for reactions that affect food quality. So letter A, endogenous. Letter B, exogenous. Letter C, endoenzyme. And letter D, exoenzymes. Now let's proceed with our lesson. Okay, nomenclature. So what is nomenclature? Nomenclature is the scientific way of naming chemical compounds. Okay? So for enzyme nomenclature, the first type, no, of naming enzymes is through recommended name. So what is recommended name? So usually enzymes are named according to the reaction they carry out, no? What type of reaction do they carry out? Okay? Now to generate the name of an enzyme, the suffix ase is added. Okay? So for example, um, you name the enzyme based on the name of its substrate. For example, we have lactose, no? So your substrate is lactose. So changing the suffix from ose to ase we have lactase. Now, lactase is an enzyme that cleaves, no, or cuts your lactose or divides your lactose. Now, another recommended way of naming enzymes is through the type of reaction. Okay? So example, we have your DNA polymerase. So what is a DNA polymerase? It is an enzyme that catalyzes the formation of DNA molecules from nucleotides. No, again, uh, polymer, DNA polymer. Okay, so it means that it forms DNA polymer. Okay. Another way of naming our enzymes is through the giving of systematic name. The systematic name was developed, no, by the International Union of Biochemists, or IUB, and according to them, there are six functional classes of enzymes. So the names of the enzymes are based on their function. Okay, so here in the table, as you can see on the screen, there are six types of enzymes based on their function. Bale, ito yung six types na to are the general classification. For example, an enzyme is an oxidoreductase. So that is its generic name. Pero meron talaga siyang specific na name. Okay? So ito, it's just a way of classifying your enzymes. Okay, so we have your oxidoreductases, which catalyzes the oxidation reaction where the electrons tend to travel from one form of a molecule to the other. Okay. Another is your transferases, which help in the transportation of the functional group among acceptors and donor molecules. The third type or class is your hydrolases. No, so these hydrolases are hydrolytic enzymes which catalyze the hydrolysis reaction by adding water to cleave the bond of a particular molecule and hydrolyze it. Okay, so yun yung function ni hydrolases. Then we also you have your lyases, which adds water, carbon dioxide, or ammonia across double bonds or eliminate these to create double bonds. So, nagliliase siya. Okay? And then we have your isomerases. No, from the term isomer. So, this isomer is the mirror image of a particular molecule. Okay? So, isomerases catalyze the structural shifts present in a molecule, thus causing the change in the shape of the molecule. Then we have your ligases, known to charge the catalysis of the ligation process. Okay? Okay, so let's discuss each one of the functional classes of enzymes. So again, the first one is your oxidoreductases. Again, from the term oxidoreductase, uh, these are classes of enzymes that facilitates oxidoreduction reactions. Okay? So, here, oxidoreductases catalyze the transfer of electrons from one molecule, which we call the oxidant, to another molecule, which is your reductant. So, example of your oxidoreductase is your pyruvate dehydrogenase, no? Which catalyzes the oxidation of pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme A. Okay, so let's first discuss what is this pyruvate. The pyruvate or the pyruvate dehydrogenase. Now, if you recall your Krebs cycle, yung acetyl coenzyme A, if na-recall nyo si Krebs cycle, then familiar kayo kay acetyl coenzyme A. Okay? So, pyruvate dehydrogenase, the enzyme, can be found in glycolysis, no? And in tricarboxylic cycle or the Krebs cycle, it is also found in the oxidative phosphorylation and in amino acid metabolisms. Now, in glycolysis or the breakdown of glycogen, no, the enzyme glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase catalyzes the reduction of your NAD to NADH. Okay? So, yun yung mga different functions ni pyruvate dehydrogenase. Again, si acetyl coenzyme A is a molecule that carries the acetyl groups and plays a central role in metabolism. Kaya nga sinabi natin na if you're familiar with the Krebs cycle, makikita mo si acetyl coenzyme A. Now, this is a compound that transports acetyl groups into the Krebs cycle to help produce energy or ATP. Okay? So, that is why very important si pyruvate dehydrogenase because it is a source of your acetyl coenzyme A that is a participant, no, in the Krebs cycle, which produces energy to the body. Okay? Now, another example of an oxidoreductase is your polyphenol oxidase, which is also commonly called as your PPO. Now, the PPO is an enzyme found in fruits and vegetables that are responsible for the uh, enzymatic browning. So, enzymatic browning usually is a undesirable uh, enzymatic reaction. No, we don't like our fruits and vegetables to darken or to turn brown. Another example of oxidoreductase is your lipoxygenase. Now, lipoxygenase from the root word lipo, okay, which comes from the word lipid, okay? So, lipoxygenase is an enzyme that catalyzes the oxidation primarily of your unsaturated fatty acids. Okay? So, alam na, if you recall our lesson on lipids, unsaturated fatty acids are those which has double bonds, no? And because of their double bonds, it is prone to oxidation. Okay? Now, one factor that facilitates oxidation of fatty acids or your unsaturated fatty acids is the presence of your enzyme called lipoxygenase. Okay? Yon. Now, let's talk about another group of functional enzymes, and these are your transferases. So, it catalyzes the transferring of a chemical group other than hydrogen from one donor to another acceptor. So, example of this is your transaminase. Okay? So, trans, meaning to transfer, and then here, in between the term for the enzyme is your root word, which is amine. Uh, if you recall your lessons in English, anong tawag dito? No? This is your root word, this is your prefix, this is your suffix. So your suffix here indicates that it is an enzyme. Trans here, more or less, a prefix describing the function of your enzyme, and then amine is the root word. So, transaminase is an enzyme that transfer, no, an amino group from one molecule to another. So, yun yung kanyang function ng transaminase enzyme. Now, the third functional classification is your hydrolases. Again, hydrolases catalyze the hydrolysis of a bond. Again, when we say hydrolysis, it is the cleavage of a particular molecule with the use of water. Okay? So, hydrolysis catalyze the hydrolysis of a bond. These are enzymes that catalyze the cleavage of a covalent bond using water. So it is water, no, that cuts the covalent bond between molecules or within a molecule. Okay, the best example for this is your pepsine. Pep um, refers to peptide bond. Okay, so this is an I know, sorry, this is an enzyme, no, that attacks proteins. So what does it attack? Specifically, it attacks the peptide bonds in your protein. Kaya nga siya tinawag na pepsine here. Okay? Another example of an hydrolases is your amylases. No, ito, yung root word natin is amyl tsaka amylogluco. Okay, so natandaan natin yung lesson natin sa carbohydrates. Amyl and amylogluco are refers to your starches, no? So, from the name itself, we can deduce that this is a enzyme that causes the hydrolysis of your starch. Okay? And we know that starch are composed of your amylose and amylopectin. Okay? Now, another group of your functional functional enzyme is your lyases. Um, it catalyzes the breakage of bonds without catalysis. Okay, so an example of this is your aldolase, which is an enzyme found in glycolysis, no? Sorry, sandali. It catalyzes the splitting um, of fructose 1,6-biphosphate to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. So, yun yung trabaho ng lyases natin. And then we have your isomerase. I think this is the second to the last functional class of enzymes. So isomerases catalyze the formation of an isomer of a compound. So an example of this is your phosphoglucomutase. Okay, mutase meaning there is a change, di ba? Mutation, example, mutation. So mutase is merong uh, pagbabago. Okay, so phosphogluco meaning there is presence of phosphate and glucose. So phosphoglucomutase catalyzes the conversion of glucose 1-phosphate to glucose 6-phosphate. Kita mo, same sila, same basically this is the same molecule. Yung pinagkaiba lang is the position, no? From 1 nagiging 6. Okay? So, ibig sabihin nito, itong enzyme na to is trina-transfer niya yung position ng phosphate group from position 1 to position 6. Okay? Within the same compound. Okay? So, this is done in glycogenolysis, and it is when glycogen is converted to glucose for energy, no, for quick release. So, if we are, for example, na hypoglycemic na tayo and we want a quick source of or a quick boost of sugar, no, sa system natin, then we eat something na starch rich or glucose rich na food. And in the presence of this enzyme, no, which is an isomerase, then we can use the glycogen to convert to glucose. Okay? Now, the last type of functional class of enzyme is your ligases, which catalyzes the association of molecules. So, it forms ligands or bonds. Okay? So, titingnan mo ditong picture na to. Okay? So, sa picture na to, this is your enzyme. Example. And this is, for example, your DNA strand. This is a DNA strand. At meron siyang naputol or fragment dito. So what the ligase do is that it catalyzes the joining of two fragments of the DNA by forming a phosphodiester bond. Okay? So example lang ito, si DNA ligase. So there are two fragments of DNA and then pwede silang mag-join together through the help of your DNA ligase, which is an enzyme. Okay? Of course, there are different types of ligase. So this is just an example to show you how it works. Okay? Now, let's talk about cofactors. So kanina, we have an enzyme, di ba? We learn about substrate. Now, here's another term, no, cofactors. So ano naman tong cofactor na to? Okay, so cofactors are non-proteinous substances. Hindi sila made up of protein or amino acids. And they associate with enzymes. Okay? So, they are essential for the functioning of an enzyme. So, si enzyme, hindi siya magiging active or hindi siya magagamit if wala si cofactor. Okay? So, the protein part of the enzyme, this one, okay, the protein part of the enzymes in cofactors, so, eto nga. So, this is your cofactor, this is your enzyme, di ba? And this is the protein part, ang tawag sa kanya is apoenzyme. Okay? While an enzyme and its cofactor together constitute the holoenzyme. Okay? So, here is your catalytic site. This is your coenzyme. Yung coenzyme supposedly pupunta dito. Diba? And it will be active in the presence of a cofactor. Now, there are three kinds of cofactors present in enzymes. So, number one is your prosthetic groups. No, this one you don't need to study this in depth. No, hindi kailangan tutukan to. So, these are cofactors tightly bound on an enzyme at all times. Example of this is your FAD or flavin adenine dinucleotide. Then we have your coenzyme. No? A coenzyme binds to an enzyme only during catalysis. No? At all other times, it is detached from the enzyme. Okay? An example of this is your NAD or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Okay? And then another cofactor is your metal ions, no? So for the catalysis of certain enzymes, a metal ion is required at the active site to form coordinate bonds. So zinc is a metal ion cofactor used by a number of enzymes, and this is where it is important that we have minerals taken no, sa diet natin. Why we take minerals? Because some of the enzymes inside our body requires the presence of these metal ions to properly function. So there are certain um, um, illnesses or condition, especially sa stomach natin, na uh, certain people suffer because they lack a certain enzyme in their body. Uh, if uh, if I am not mistaken, yung ano ba 'yon? there are people who cannot digest starch properly. That's why they avoid starchy food. There are people also that cannot digest dairy products, no? They avoid dairy products. I forgot the term for that certain na disease or illness or condition. Na they suffer because from birth they lack that certain enzyme in their stomach or in their system. Now, let's talk about the action and nature of enzymes. So, ito, meron tayong illustration dito. So, we have here number 1, 2, 3, and nakikita natin na it is a cycle, di ba? So, let's talk about this. So, we start with your substrate. So, this is your substrate, right? And the substrate usually binds to the enzyme here at the active site. So, kung titingnan mo, pareho sila ng shape dito so that it can fit. Again, ang theory na tinatawag dito is your lock and key theory. Okay? So, once your substrate binds to your enzyme at the active site, they now form your enzyme substrate complex, which is this one. Okay? Now, this is an intermediate phase, no? And at the intermediate phase, this is where your enzymes act on your substrate, creating some changes, no, within that substrate. And when the reaction is completed, it forms a reaction product. So makikita mo, there is a change in color from orange to blue to indicate that these are now completely different products. Okay? So si substrate is changed into enzymatic reaction products. Okay? Now, when the reaction products are fully if when the reaction is fully completed, then the reaction products is released, no? So it is released, and as we can see, the enzyme is still intact, meaning it can still be used again. Okay, so it can once the reaction product is released, the enzyme is reused, meaning if there are still available substrate here in the environment, then it can still bind with this released enzyme. Okay? Again, through the lock-in key theory, this explains, no, why enzymes has what we call specificity, no. It is specific only to a particular substrate. Kasi yung mga substrate, iba-iba sila ng shape, iba-iba sila ng nature. And a particular enzyme can only specifically act on a specific substrate. Okay? Again, it's a lock and key theory, di ba? Na yung mga key can only open specific locks. Now, sige. Okay, ito transition state or intermediate state. Tandaan yung mga ganito, no? Kasi one of the part of your quiz or exam will be to describe the enzyme reaction process or equation. Okay? Now let's talk more. Okay? By breaking and making the bonds, the substrate binds to the enzyme, which converts it into a product and later splits into product and enzyme. So, dito na part siya. Okay? Na-mention ko na kanina. Then, yon, as again, the free enzymes can bind to other substrates. And then the cycle continues, no? Until all of the substrates are transformed by your enzyme. So, not until na naubos yung lahat ng substrate ay magsa-stop yung enzymatic reactions. Now, the enzyme action basically happens in two steps. Ito, tandaan nyo guys, lalabas to sa mga quizzes at exam. Okay, so step 1 is when the enzyme and the reactant or substrate combines. So the equation for that is E, which stands for enzyme, plus substrate, forms your enzyme substrate complex. Okay? Then step 2 is the disintegration of the complex molecule to give the product. Okay? So from here, we have your enzyme substrate complex, which is after the completion of the enzymatic reaction or enzymatic process, we produce the enzyme plus the enzyme reaction products. Okay. Now, the whole catalyst action of enzyme is summarized in this process or equation. So, we start with enzyme plus substrate. They bind together to form your enzyme substrate complex. And after some time, when the reaction is completed, we form an enzyme product complex. And eventually, this enzyme product complex splits into free enzyme plus reaction products. Now, this free enzyme now can again bind to other substrates or reactants. Okay, so another illustration to describe the enzymatic reaction process is this illustration. So, please familiarize with this equation. So, I will no longer describe this kasi na-discuss ko na to in the previous slide. So, this just shows you that the enzymatic reaction process is a cycle until all of the substrates has been reacted upon and turned into reaction products. Okay, so how do enzymes speeds up reactions? Diba? Sabi natin, ginagawa ng enzyme is that it catalyzes a reaction. The term catalyze means it speeds up the reaction. So how do enzymes do that? Okay, so like all catalysts, enzymes work by lowering the activation energy of a chemical reaction. Okay, so what is activation energy? So it is the energy needed to start a chemical reaction. Now, the biochemical reaction shown in the figure here requires about 3 times as much activation energy without the enzyme as it do with the enzyme. So, anong ibig sabihin yan? So, ang lahat daw ng mga biochemical reaction, particularly, for example, the best example of this is your digestive organ, no? Your stomach, diba? So, sa stomach natin, we break down food, okay? And to break down food, you need activation energy, okay? So, here, for example, glucose, right? Glucose. So you have to break it down. We have to break down the glucose so that our body can have energy. Okay? So dito pa lang sa stomach. So without enzyme, the energy required, no, to break down glucose is very high. Okay? So ito yung activation energy niya. And when we say energy, di ba, it can be in the form of pressure, it can be in the form of heat, di ba? So, in this case, si glucose, kailangan niya ng mataas na energy. And the mataas na energy na yan is tataas ang temperature. Okay, di ba? If walang enzyme. Ito, activation energy without the enzyme. So, if, for example, walang digestive enzymes sa loob ng stomach natin, and we need glucose, no, to be uh, decomposed, no, or makatalyze siya so that it can supply energy sa body natin, then kailangan mataas na mataas yung energy, yung temperature sa loob ng stomach natin, which is not realistic naman. Kasi sasabog na yung katawan natin, mag-spontaneous combustion na tayo, di ba? That is why we have digestive enzymes. And the purpose of those digestive enzymes is to lower the activation energy required, no, to catalyze, no, the breakdown of glucose. And the breakdown of glucose is, of course, other things. It produces also carbon dioxide and water. Okay? So, yun yung parang, for me, the best way to discuss the function of enzyme. Na pag walang enzyme, masyadong mataas yung activation energy required natin na hindi siya kung minsan feasible. That's why we have to employ the use of enzymes. Now, enzymes bring together and bind the substrates, preventing moving about of substrate until they collide at random. So, meaning, si enzyme tsaka si substrate, kailangan nilang mag-meet at mag-collide at random, no? Para mag-react silang dalawa, mag-bind sila together. So, hence, less energy is used up. Now, enzymes bind substrates tightly at the active site, no? Again, it is substrate specific. Binding and positioning of substrates or reactants correctly at the active site prevent intermolecular forces that may push substrates apart. That means substrates interact with less energy. Okay? And then enzymes may also allow reactions to occur by different pathways that have lower activation energy. Okay. Now, enzymatic catalysis depends upon the activity of the amino acid side chain. So, if you recall, no, yung ating mga proteins at saka mga amino acids, di ba? Ang shape ng amino acid natin is, if we have central carbon here, you have here hydrogen, di ba? Then you have here OH, and then you have the amino terminal, and then we have your R group. Okay? The R group is your side chain, no? Just a review. Now, again, the enzymatic catalysis depends upon the activity of your amino acid side chain, no? Which is found in the active site. So, enzymes bond the substrate into a region of the active site in an intermediate conformation. So, again, ito yung importance ni side chain ng ating amino acid because siya yung nagre-react doon sa active site ng ating enzymes. Now, amino acids are assembled to the cluster in the right conformation by the three-dimensional folding of the primary amino acid sequence. Most frequent active site amino acid residues are polar amino acid. Sila yung pinaka-frequent na makikita natin sa active site. Again, please recall your lesson on the properties of your amino acids and proteins. Now, examples of these polar amino acids are your aspartate, cysteine, glutamate, histidine, serine, and lysine. Ngayon, I know na hindi nyo na-appreciate ang knowledge na to, but once when you um, do research or you go you do your thesis, you will you will use this knowledge, no, to explain why your product behave this way, ganito ganyan. Okay, next, typically only 2 to 3 essential amino acid residues are involved directly in the bond causing the formation of your product. Okay, so any 2 or 3 of these, no, are responsible in formation of the bond. Now, glutamate, aspartate, and histidine are amino acid residues which also serve as proton acceptor and donor. Now, that ends our lesson for this week. So, we will continue our topic on enzymes in foods next week. Now, the next slides is the 4 remaining questions, review questions, no, which will serve as your attendance. So again, take down notes. Answer, no, these in your notebook or piece of paper, and then send your answers to the classwork dedicated for this. Okay. So question number 4: what 3 letters do enzymes typically end in? Letter A, ice. Letter B, ace. Letter C, us. Letter D, os. Okay? So you can pause this the video at this point, no, so that you can read again the question and write down your answers. Question number 5: how many functional classes are enzymes categorized? Letter A, 4. Letter B, 5. Letter C, 6. Letter D, 7. Now, question number 6. Enzymes make reactions go blank by blank the activation energy of the reaction. So, letter A, go faster by raising. Letter B, go faster by lowering. Letter C, go slower by lowering. And letter D, go slower by raising. Okay, last question, question number 7. Where do substrates bind on an enzyme? Letter A, enzyme substrate complex. Letter B, holoenzyme. Letter C, cofactor. And letter D, active site. Now that ends again this video lesson. Please download a copy of the laboratory activity guide, no, from the Google Classroom. Make sure you have your own copy. Study, no, review uh, the part, no, about the enzymes experiment. Review the procedure, and maybe next week we're going to have your quiz all about enzymes.